It's Monday, October 6th, 2025, and we are set for another week of college football. We just closed out week 6, and it was, dare I say, really good for the results that we had and the on-field action. I thought really walked away enjoying a lot of what we saw. So we'll kind of recap some of that with some of the things we're going to talk about today. Of course, we have a brand new top 25 coming out today, as promised. Finally delivering on time. And we also got a brand new Heisman outlook, as in who would I vote for right now in the college football Heisman race. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoy today's video. If you do, please leave a like, subscribe specifically. We're looking for 200. We're 2 away. All it takes is 2 of you just to hit that little red button, says subscribe, and then boom, we're at 200. Be greatly appreciated. We've grown a lot from the beginning of this channel, kind of resetting, rebranding, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. We started with just 60 subscribers, and we're already pushing 200. And it's tough to grow on YouTube, especially with the ever-changing algorithms and things like that. So, but this is the only place I really do any content. That's going to change over time, but for right now, just trying to make sure I do things right as we go. So, I thank y'all so much. I also want to thank my good friend RJ. As you see back there, you haven't been able to see it on the lives, but we finally have West Virginia throwback towel from the game on Saturday. Also got the cup. Appreciate it. I mean, greatly appreciate it. That's super cool. He went out of his way to get that and send it to me, and I welcome it. I'm not saying I would ever not, but just greatly appreciative because I was looking to find one myself, and he just happened to hook me up. So really cool. We added it to the collection. We've added a couple new cars to the collection too from this year. For those who don't know, I'm a huge racing fan in general, not just NASCAR, but I watch everything, as you can see back there. So for me, added a couple new cars to the collection. Got a few more coming. Got a Red Sox car that's on the way. We'll talk about that someday. Maybe on the Loudmouth channel, we'll talk about kind of what I have here and this collection that is ever growing. Um, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff. So appreciate it. Thank you all so much. And without any further blabbing on, let's go ahead and talk about today's specific topics. And that starts with my top 25. And I deliberated a lot here because I really wanted to figure out what meant something to me based on the last few weeks, because there are certain things that have definitely changed. And the more I've looked into it, the more I've found some answers. So with that said, let's go ahead and go into the top 25. And you see it on your screen, but I'm going to explain to you every single team and why they are in the place that they are, okay? Starts with number 1, Ohio State. I was highly considering Miami moving up to number 1. They were up 28-7 on Florida State. They were dominating. They were taking care of business. I said, okay, this is a team that I think could be number 1. However, I had to sit back and think about it. Oregon went to whiteout last week and won. Yes. Now, that means a little less now, but that's still an impressive win, and they did what they needed to do. Ohio State dominated Minnesota 42-3. Left no doubt, and they've really left no doubt. They are the best defense in college football right now. So when I say what I'm saying here, these top 3 are my top 3, plain and simple. There is not really any deliberating. They are the most proven and or the most consistent teams in college football to this point in the season. To kind of move forward off of that, numbers 4 and 5 and 6 are in that same boat. The most consistent teams week in, week out. We know what we're getting out of Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech so far because they've done it every week so far this season. And Oklahoma did it this week with a backup quarterback. Michael Hawkins took over after John Mateer had hand surgery following that Auburn game. Really felt like, a lot of people expect this Oklahoma team to take a step back, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not happening. This Oklahoma team is going to continue to really play at the level they've done all year. Michael Hawkins can do the same things as John Mateer, which means that this offense doesn't really change. It's just a matter of John Mateer knew the offense, Michael Hawkins didn't, gave Mateer an edge, and Mateer has played really well. Let's not misunderstand. He's had some turnovers, some mistakes, but generally played a very good brand of football. And Michael Hawkins came in, and I don't care if it's against Kent State or not, He came in and played really well. I think that this Oklahoma team has a lot to look forward to, especially this week when they get Texas, of course, at the Texas State Fair. You move on, Texas A&M. Again, this is one of the best teams, most consistent teams we've seen all year long. They've done everything very well, really leaving no doubt in a lot of aspects of the game. Their defense is suffocating. Their offense does what it needs to do. I mean, they don't really have to throw the ball very much. You expect a little more from Marcel Reed, but they don't need it. They are able to run the ball at an incredible clip. I mean, they're running for over 100, close to 150 yards a game, and they just continue to push the ball down people's throat. It's impressive to watch. They're doing a great job. They're at number 5. Texas Tech comes in at 6, and they're just beating everybody. They have not played a game within 24 points all year long, and they just beat Houston on the road, who people are not going to understand that that's a really good team, but that's a really good team. Excited to see what Texas Tech can do going forward. They got some still big matchups ahead. Indiana and Oregon play this week. Indiana has been consistent as well. Really good offense, playing well defensively, doing enough to win games. And they're going to get a chance to go to Eugene this weekend and maybe prove why they should be in the top 5. Ole Miss is a team that's been super consistent with Trinidad Chambliss at quarterback. He has really elevated this team's level of play. They've done a great job. I was skeptical of what Ole Miss could do with him when they got in some of their bigger games, and honestly, they've answered the bell pretty remarkably. They are at number 8 for me. Alabama jumps all the way up to number 9, and this one probably takes some people by surprise based on how I've talked about this team throughout the year. But one thing that is for certain, this Alabama team has certainly stepped up when it mattered the most. They are, they walked out in week 1, and in the fourth quarter, we saw a switch in this team, and they really kind of figured out how they wanted to pursue their offense. And they also figured out a little bit on defense. And they've utilized that every single game since then. Dominated Georgia and just dominated Vanderbilt, who are 2 top 25 teams, even with their losses. I don't think there's any doubting that Vanderbilt's a good team, and people certainly aren't saying that Georgia's not a good team. This Alabama team has a lot of potential going forward. They still have some big games ahead. In a couple weeks, they'll play Tennessee at home. There's room for improvement, but Ty Simpson has really elevated his level of play. Jam Miller coming back has improved this offense tremendously. Alabama is really proving themselves as a legitimate threat to a national championship. Michigan goes at number 10, and this remains because, again, this defense is one that's playing well, but they have some moments where they just seem off. I think some of it comes from some injuries that they're fighting through. I think some other parts just come from overall aggressive play calling and trying to get teams on their heels early. They tried that with Wisconsin. It didn't work. They settled back in and played a great game from there on out. The offense has a lot of room to improve, and it really lies in the wide receiver room. They're starting to find some of their guys. You saw it as the game went on. Donovan McCulley is stepping up and becoming a favorite target. Marlon Klein stepped up. And we're seeing Andrew Marsh step in. And that's going to be one of the names that we're going to continue to watch as the year goes on. How much he improves, how much playing time he gets. I think he's going to see the field a lot. It was announced that Fred Moore is no longer with the program. That's going to open up doors for other players as well. I still want to see Peyton O'Leary. I don't know what the idea is, why he's not on the field. But I think Peyton O'Leary is a guy who can really make some plays in this passing game. And for whatever reason, he's not being utilized. He hasn't been utilized for 3 years. And we've watched him really develop into a fine receiver. I'm not sure what we're missing there, but I think if he got on the field, there would be some success from that regard too. Michigan at 10. They've got a tough one this week with USC. We'll talk a little more about them later. LSU at 11. That's a team that has been consistent. Their running game is going to be an issue going forward. It comes down to the fact that Keaton Durham is really the only real sign of life in the run game. It's going to continue to hinder them throughout the course of the year, but for right now, they're surviving, and we'll see where they end up. They're at 11. Georgia Tech. How far can Haynes King take this team? That's really the question. We've seen in a couple games now where he's starting to wear down. If he can continue to push forward and press on, I don't see any reason why Georgia Tech can't make the playoff and be an ACC contender. But it's going to take him really having some valiant effort throughout the course of the rest of the year. Georgia at 13, didn't feel the need to move them up quite as far, but still, the loss to Alabama doesn't look as bad when we see Bama continuing to play really good football. They also dominated Kentucky, played really well. They're doing their job. Notre Dame at 14, best two-loss team in the country by a mile. I mean, they are really good. I think there's a lot of room still for improvement. But CJ Carr has improved tremendously. He's actually starting to kind of sneak his way into some Heisman conversation, I think. The biggest problem is they didn't win one of those first two games against Miami or Texas A&M. And you have two top 5 losses. Not just to me, but I believe the AP also has Texas A&M and Miami in the top 5, and they do. So Notre Dame with two top 5 losses and continuing to win a bunch of games, um, and dominating all of these games too. We'll see how things go. I think they would have needed one of those 2 wins to not quite make the playoffs, but for CJ Carr to maybe be a Heisman candidate. But he played well in both of those as well. We'll see how that goes moving forward. Missouri's really impressed me, and it's really been Bo Prabula who has impressed me. I cannot believe that there was a world where Penn State decided that he was not capable and wasn't going to get a chance, because Prabula has been great. Really good arm strength, really good decision making. Taking off and running and using the biggest weapon he has, which is his legs, a lot throughout the course of the year. We're gonna see what Missouri is when they play Bama this week. We're gonna really get an idea of what these two teams can be. Maybe Missouri is a real threat to the playoff or the SEC title. Arizona State at 16. They were on bye week this week. They just kind of stay put. There wasn't a whole lot to take away from them. Vanderbilt stays at 17 from where I had them, and simply because I think they're still better than everybody that's behind them. That's all there is to it. I still think they're better than the teams behind them. And people are going to get mad. Tennessee fans are going to get mad. Why is Vandy ahead of us? The biggest reason is Vanderbilt's defense shows up. Tennessee has not played one solid game defensively against legitimate competition. And as that time continues to go on, they're going to play Vandy later this year. And Vandy's going to do whatever they want against the Tennessee defense the way they've played so far. Tennessee's got a lot of room to improve still and a lot of room to grow. They've got some big games still ahead of them. It feels like they have potential. But again, it's going to start with, are they going to have to outscore everybody they play, or are they going to show up defensively and actually take care of business? We'll see. Tennessee at 18. TCU 19, still like what they're doing, still really believe in what they are. BYU at 20. I like BYU. I like what they're doing. I'm impressed beyond belief with Bear Bachmeier and his composure, his poise to show up every single week in some of these environments and take charge against some of these defenses and lead this BYU offense down the field consistently. They got a big game this week in Tucson. A little bit of an upset alert type of a game. If they can get through that, there's some serious belief in what they're going to be able to do this year. Illinois comes in at 21. Look, they took care of business against Purdue. They've taken care of business really all year long. We'll see where they show up against Ohio State. That'll kind of determine how they land in this top 25. Memphis at 22. They're undefeated, 6-0. First bowl eligible team in college football. And they're not really leaving any doubt. They are undefeated against the spread to this day. Iowa State to 23. Losing to Cincinnati, I almost brought Cincinnati into the top 25. I was very, very tempted, but I still think Iowa State's better. If this game was played in Ames or on a neutral site, I think that this is a little bit of a different outcome. Cincinnati jumped on them early, and certainly they answered. They brought this game back to within 8 points. They just weren't enough to get it done. We'll see where Iowa State lands as time goes on, but for right now, I got them at 23. USC comes in at 24. Jaden Maab has impressed me. He's certainly on a list of my could have been in my top 5 for Heisman. If they would have beat Illinois, he probably would be in my top 5. They've been really good. They've got a big game this week against Michigan, and it's Saturday night in the Coliseum. I think that there's a chance that USC wins this game. More than just a chance. As a matter of fact, they are favored to win this game. And I don't doubt it. I think that they have a legitimate shot. It's going to depend on what Michigan does and how aggressive they want to play. But if they do these game plans we've seen against Oklahoma, what we saw last week in the game against um, Wisconsin, this USC team can win, and I think maybe even win by a couple scores if that's really the case. It's all comes down to Michigan's game plan. At number 25, I got Virginia. I deliberated a few different teams here, but I landed on Virginia. I think it's just the grittiness that they play with. I don't think they are. I'm going to say this, and it's going to really contradict what I'm saying, but I don't know that I believe them as a top 25 team. But they're winning their games, and they've won some impressive ones. Beating Florida State is an impressive win, even if they're not ranked. Beating Louisville is impressive, even if Louisville's not ranked. They did that one on the road as well. That's just two really big wins, and they overcame a lot in those two games. Virginia seems like they have some legitimacy to them, but there's still like something to me that's saying, I don't know. I don't know that I buy where they are right now. They're at 25 reluctantly. It's nothing against them. It's just where I have them. So that's where we land right there on our top 25. So comparing that to what we see over here in the college football, the AP rankings, it really does blow my mind that some teams ended up falling out versus others. You know, Texas fell out, Penn State fell out, but Florida State stays at number 25, and they got dominated. I don't care that they came back into that game. They got absolutely dominated in that one. Cincinnati's receiving votes, Utah's receiving votes, USC, Nebraska. Like there's a lot of teams that are still receiving votes that I think have played better than Florida State to an extent this year. But that's who's at number 25. South Florida came in at 24. Not too hateful to that. They have some strength of schedule stuff. I think it really boosts them that they got that Florida beats Texas in Gainesville. Shows that South Florida played a legitimate football game over there. But beyond that, I don't have too many complete gripes. I think it's just based on what people have said and what people's opinions have been throughout the course of the year. With that said, let's go ahead and talk about Heisman real quick. This is what I would vote for right now. If the Heisman voting was right now and I was a voter, these are the 5 that would be on my ballot, and it would be in this order. Look, Fernando Mendoza has played really good football, and nothing has happened from him that has made me say I don't think he's quite there. However, Dante Moore and Ty Simpson closing the gap tremendously, and even I'm going to be honest with you. I think everybody's closing the gap tremendously, but especially after that Iowa game. They didn't look great, but it was enough. They did enough to win the game. The big thing for me with this one is Dante Moore's been just generally consistent. Fernando Mendoza has had some games of some down games. Ty Simpson's really picked it up in this after the Florida State game, and if they would have won that Florida State game, he might be at the top of this list right now. But unfortunately, they didn't look good for 3 quarters, and I can't give too much credit for that. But they've looked really good. He's looked really good. He's certainly winning me over. Justice Haynes at 4. He's the first Michigan player since 2010, Denard Robinson, to have 100-plus rushing yards in the first 5 games of a season. He's putting up unreal numbers. It seems like every game he's breaking off a 50-plus yard run. Justice Haynes has been pretty much the lifeblood of this Michigan offense and has really carried this team in moments of need. Justice Haynes, to me, is probably the most valuable player in college football. I'm not talking about most outstanding. I'm not talking about best stats, even though he's got some really good stats. I'm talking about most valuable player to any team. I think 22 in blue is the guy that we're looking at. Number 5, we got Carson Beck. Playing really good football, leading this offense, doing a great job, and starting to put on the stats that are that of a Heisman contender through 6 weeks. So those are the guys we're looking at right now. Also have, of course, Jaden Mayava was in the conversation. Joey Aguilar fell out of my top 5. And not for lack of anything other than just I'm more impressed with what I've seen from other guys right now, other players. So that's where I land with some of them. CJ Carr has entered that conversation. He's the fourth guy. He's my number 9 right now if I were voting. Um, John Mateer is my first one out. I don't really care that he's missed time. If he comes back and just lights it up and if he only misses 2 games, plays 10 games and just lights it up in these 10, which is what he's done so far, then John Mateer certainly still belongs in the conversation. Um, Joey Aguilar second again, out 7th overall, and then Jaden Maaba would be my number 8 right now if I had to pick. So yeah, that's what we got for Heisman. Let me know what you guys think about everything you've seen here today. It was a lot, but a little at the same time. We've only had this today, but tomorrow we'll be back. We got more game previews coming up. We got more news to talk about. Plenty around the college football world as we continue to pursue towards week number 7. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, again, like and subscribe. Just helps this channel get out there more. Helps the views continue to grow. Helps us hit 200 subscribers. We're 2 away. That's all we need is 2 of you watching this video. Hit that button, and we're there. So I appreciate it. I thank y'all so much. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And we'll see y'all tomorrow with another episode of Armchair Analysis.